Welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. I'm going to be doing the Starving Artist tag, and this was created by a girl named Ivy Lily Creative, and I'll link her tag in the description below. I found this on the internet. Her website's ivylilycreative.com. And I'm really excited to do this tag because I feel like on my YouTube channel, I don't get to talk a lot about kind of like who I am as an artist and what I'm about as an artist and kind of anything about my art or how I became an artist. And this tag is going to be a great way to kind of get to know me as an artist and a little bit about my story with that. So the first question is, what's your favorite experience as an artist? And I'd have to say that my favorite experience is being able to kind of take in the world around me and create things that I find beautiful and interesting and important as well. I really like to take inspiration from a myriad of places, and I like to kind of explore a lot of different topics and emotions and passions, concerns, things that are kind of in my brain that I think about or I'm passionate about, etc. So for me, my favorite thing about or experience as an artist is that I'm able to kind of take things from the world around me and I'm able to incorporate them into an artistic practice and produce something that is meaningful to me and share that with people. My least favorite experience as an artist is kind of the same thing. I think so much of being an artist is kind of walking this fine line between almost a curse a little bit in some ways and a blessing because, I think for a lot of people, even though it's kind of this stereotypical trope, there is a lot of suffering and a lot of anguish and a lot of kind of exclusion and feeling misunderstood and dealing with like kind of the world around you and the human experience and things as an artist. And I think that that can become internalized, and that also drives art as well and is plays a huge part in the creative process and everything. So I definitely think that it's hard to be a creative. It's hard to walk that path of, you know, experiencing the world so deeply and creating things. It's not something that's necessarily like joyous all the time. It can be kind of like really like takes a lot of grit to create and to put all of those feelings and things on the line in order to create. And sometimes it feels like a compulsion. Sometimes you feel like you just have to create in order to stay sane. So um, yeah. Um, what are your dreams and goals for your art? My dream for my art is to kind of be, of course, to leave a legacy. I'd love to leave a large portfolio of work that is inspiring and beautiful and wonderful and impactful. And I'd also like to be remembered as kind of part of my art. And I always look to like pop culture figures like Anna Nicole Smith and Amanda Lepore and a lot of kind of like Andy Warhol's Fame Factory and kind of these like iconic people, Angeline, you know, Barbie even, so many people. And it's not just limited to blonde people. It's anybody and everybody that I'm inspired by. And I'm inspired by so many people. But I do love this idea of self-creation and kind of like inventing yourself and leaving behind this like very like kind of iconographic legacy of like, that's Athena, that's who she is, this is what she's about, this is what she does, this is her essence. I want to leave behind an essence of who I am. And I want to immortalize myself even, and that's kind of part of my YouTube channel, and part of the reason that I create in general is to immortalize myself. I'm obsessed with this idea of like leaving behind an image and encapsulating youth and encapsulating moments of time that you can look back on and say like, this is who I was, this is who I am, or this is who she was as a person. There's something really fascinating to me about like, you know, capturing yourself in a video and capturing yourself in an art piece or your expression. There's just something about that documentation angle to the human experience that I think is very like kind of like captivating to me for some reason. So let's see. Okay, so what's your favorite medium and why? So my favorite medium is digital illustration. I love to use Procreate on my iPad, on my tablet, and I love it because there's kind of this endless array of, tools to use, and you have your stylus, and you don't have to buy thousands of dollars worth of Copic markers to get any color you want. You can replicate things, you can mirror things. You do something you really like, you can save it, and you can do a million more in a lot of different variations and versions. You're kind of like just, it's limitless with digital. And if you want to put it on a t-shirt, if you want to make it a poster, if you want to make it really small and you want to make a million of them, or you want to do something huge and make one of them, you can take a tiny image and make it into a 6 foot huge experience. And I just think that with digital art, it's amazing what you can do. Um, and of course I love traditional. I love mechanical pencil, Crayola, markers, colored pencils, all of that. I love all of that as well. Um, you know, I'll always be doodling. If you put a pencil and paper in front of me, I'll be doodling. Um, what inspired you to do art and why do you love it? So, I think that that's kind of, again, like a complex question because I feel like art is in my DNA. I feel like I'm a creative to the core of my being. It's something that I wasn't taught. It is something I was exposed to. My mother's an amazing artist and she's a creative as well. And I was always exposed to her art and her love for art and encouraged to create myself. There was always paper around. There were always drawing utensils. And whenever I would create art, my mother was always extremely supportive and encouraging of that. And it's the reason I'm in art school today. I originally started as a communications major because I felt like I couldn't make a career in the arts. That's what everybody always says. They say, like, you can't be an artist and make money, or even this tag is the starving artist, which is that kind of like very stereotypical trope that, like, you can't make a living off of it. But you actually can. And, I owe being in art school to my mom for supporting me and believing in me and encouraging me to pursue what is the most natural to me, and that is to be a creative and an artist. Um, and so, of course, it's kind of this thing of like nature nurture, of like it's something that's innate, but it's also something I was nurtured and exposed to, and so it kind of grew into this what it is today. And creating art is the most natural thing I know. It is kind of a compulsion. It's just a way of me expressing myself. That's so cheesy, but it's just, it's just natural. It's natural to me. It's natural to draw. It's natural to dress up. It's natural to express and be, you know, um, just all of that. That is just kind of like my soul as a person and what kind of like feeds me as a person on a very deep level. What's your favorite piece you've ever made and why is it special? My favorite piece is called Doodle Girl, and it's my most recent piece. And I love her because I think that she showcases my artistic abilities as to where I'm at as an artist in terms of technicality and proportion, dimension, and like kind of like the 80s. I love the 80s. And she's kind of this like love letter to like Lisa Frank and the Terry Mugler sketches and fashion shows. Like a lot of his illustrations, it reminds me of. And it's a little pinup. I love pinup art. I think it's amazing. And she's just so colorful, and she's just kind of like, to me, the piece that I would show people. Like if someone said like, show me who you are as an artist, I would say, this is who I am. And she's just kind of all of that to me. So it's been really wonderful. And I feel like I got very, very lucky with that piece. Who/what are your biggest art influences? My biggest art influences are kind of pop culture, movies, music, other artists, fashion, models, um, figures throughout history, previous artists, current artists, really just limitless. My favorite artist is a woman named Leilani Joy. She has a YouTube channel here on YouTube, and an amazing website. And her kind of, I found her art, her channel maybe like 10 years ago, and I was just so blown away by her as a person, how amazing she was, and also her artwork and how her girls were. She also did girls in all these different environments and colors and fashions and things. And that was just so inspiring to me. And I look up to her even to this day. Um, she's just the most amazing artist to me. She's my favorite current artist. But of the past, of course, Gustav Klimt, Van Gogh, the greats, the classics, Jamie Wyeth, Christina's World is like probably one of my all-time favorite paintings. John Williams Waterhouse, I think that's his full name. I always get confused. But his Ophelia painting, amazing. Um, Picasso, Blue Period, one of my favorites. The Surrealist movement, love the Surrealists, The Melting Clock, Salvador Dali. Also, art influences pop culture icons. Anna Nicole Smith, Marilyn Monroe. Again, like figures in history, Elvira. Um, you know, TV shows like Dynasty and all kinds of things, endless, the inspiration. H.R. Geiger is one of my favorite artists. He's unfortunately passed, but he did the concept art for the movie Alien, and he was like the main reason why that movie is so fabulous, and the design of the xenomorph and kind of all these like, I think it's under the aesthetic of Arado mechanic art, and it's just amazing, stunning. I don't just like art that's like, colorful and happy. I like serious art. I like deeper art. I like art that questions, what it means to be a human being. What did you learn from being a full-time artist? I think this is a funny question because I can't say that I'm a full-time artist living off of my art, but I am a full-time artist in that I'm never really not internalizing and creating art. I'm always an artist 24/7. And what that's taught me is that the way that I experience things is very deeply. I experience a lot of emotions. I'm very much an empath. Everything is an energy to me. I took this like personality test on this like 25 personalities website, and it said that I was 99% feeling, 1% thinking, which is really sad and dangerous for the world that we live in, and what's expected of you as a human being. But I do think that it speaks to how deeply I feel and experience things. Everything is energy to me, everything is a feeling to me, and that can be kind of a detriment. It can be beautiful and it can also be awful. It just depends on how you are able to kind of control it. And I don't know how well I am at controlling it yet. Was becoming an artist your childhood dream? If not, what was? I always wanted to be creative. I remember telling people for the longest time I wanted to be a fashion designer. I love fashion. I love fashion illustration. And, if it's cosmetology, if it's, literally anything in the creative arts is kind of a passion of mine. Creative writing, poetry, music. I love music. I love making music. I love listening to music. Filmography, photography. I think I might have said that. Literally, just absolutely anything and everything. Was it my childhood dream? I mean, I've always wanted to do something great, whatever it was. For a long time, I'm very passionate about psychology, sociology. I wanted to be a therapist for a long time. In high school, I remember telling people that. And that's something I'm still very interested in, but I don't think that that's the career path I'll be taking, but it is something that's very fascinating and I think very important in our world. What advice can you give to people who want to become more artistic or creative? I would just say that, art doesn't have to live on a piece of paper. Art can be something that's intangible, something that lives inside of yourself. If it's a daydream, a fantasy, if it's, thinking of things in a way that you haven't before. Like if you were to listen to a song and you were to ask yourself, what color is that song? Why is the color that you chose uh, relative to that experience? Or just thinking of things in like creative ways and kind of like stopping to think of things artistically, like the way that the water runs out of the faucet, and imagining the sounds, and I mean, and it doesn't have to be so like frilly and philosophical. It can be really anything. It can be recognizing little moments that happen in your day-to-day life. The simplest of things, stepping in a puddle, watching a ladybug fly from a leaf to a leaf, the way that watching somebody's body language and the way that they set a coffee cup down, watching the way that somebody's face wrinkles up when they're laughing or they're smiling. It could be anything. I think just being in tune and being present with the world around you is an amazing way to be creative. Were you supported to pursue art as a child? Absolutely. My mom is my number one cheerleader, supporter. The rest of my family as well, my loved ones, my boyfriend, everybody has always supported me as a creative. Do you make money off of your art? I don't yet, but I would love to. What do you want to improve on / aspire to be with your future art? I'd really like to improve on everything. Proportion, dimension, perspective, color theory, everything. I want to improve on everything. It's a shame because sometimes art is really difficult and it's hard to do what you conceptualize in your brain and make it actually come out and look good. What feelings do you try to express in your art? There's a lot of emotions I like to express in my art, and there are a lot of things that I like to explore in my art that are kind of like large human questions. What does it mean to be in a human body? What does it mean to be transgender and not be in a body that you feel comfortable in? I think that that comes into my fascination with drawing women and girls and their, in all these different environments and stylizations and aesthetics and things, because I'm grappling with some type of question of what it means to be a woman and what does it look like. And I also find it beautiful. I find women to be the most beautiful and wonderful thing to draw in the whole world. I try to express a lot of things. I try to express glamour, whimsy, zest, passion, excitement, sadness, trauma, everything. I try to express it all. It just depends on the piece itself. What is your favorite thing to paint and why? I kind of answered that. Girls, women. What's the strangest thing you've painted? Speaking back to the H.R. Geiger topic that I spoke briefly about, I did a series, not a series, but I went through a period where I was doing a lot of art that was very heavily inspired by him, and I did a lot of really weird web-like kind of things around girls. If I have a picture of it, I'll insert it, but just very dark, very kind of just a lot of really interesting kind of things going on, and like kind of these like awkward poses, uncomfortable but beautiful, and I don't know, it's just very interesting, and I'd love to delve back into that kind of art. One of my friend's favorite pieces of mine is one of those pieces. I'll have to insert that into this video. Have you ever been hung up after you started a commission, and how did you handle it? I haven't done commissions. I'd love to do them, but I do get artist block. Artist block is very difficult to get through, unfortunately, and sometimes it just comes down to like waiting a day or two, or you just keep drawing and drawing and drawing until you feel it. So hard to force it. I don't know if I have a great answer for it. It says, do you admit that paint smells good? I actually don't think paint smells good. I don't like oil paint at all. Acrylic paint doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, doesn't do anything for me. And the last question is, what would you tell your younger self? And I would just tell my younger self to keep creating and keep drawing and keep believing in yourself. And even now, this is advice I'd take now at 25. I'm like, girl, hang in there. Don't give up. Keep creating. Don't be so hard on yourself. Your pieces don't have to be perfect. You just need to create and keep building that portfolio. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll definitely be putting in some artwork of mine. I really hope to have a website soon where I can show my entire portfolio and what I'm capable of. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah! Bye guys.